Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Scary Stories by the Campfire. And we are your hosts this evening, Jason. And tonight we are talking about Willard, which was a 2003 movie. Um, not billed as a remake. You gotta remember that one. It's not billed as a remake. It was I guess it was made to be a reworking of the themes from the first movie.
It was a remake.
Yeah, I mean it does have the remake, but remember this was based off of a book also. So, um,
So
Jeremy.
before we dive into it, I just read
Uh,
something that I really want you to play a little game with. There were two people who turned down the role of playing Willard before Crispin Glover. One
hmm.
was a big actor in the early '90s as a child actor. The other, he's a popular actor, but he just they're about to do a sequel to a movie he just starred in. The sequel has
And
Lady Gaga in it.
oh, it's was it Walking Phoenix?
Yep, that's one of them.
And the other one you said was a
Big child star of the '90s. One of the biggest child stars of the '90s.
oh, that's gonna be hmm. Oh, okay, Jeremy, just go ahead and hit me with it because I
Macaulay Culkin.
really.
He turned down the role.
What did he give it up for?
Uh, Beats me. I don't know. It doesn't say. Just says that him and Joaquin Phoenix turned down the role for Willard.
Nah, I think Crispin Glover hit it right on the head.
Yeah, and they said they wanted to make Willard a very rat-like human and requested that the artist makeup people make him unattractive and nervous looking as possible by accenting the hard angles of his face, making a pale skin and dark around the eyes.
Yeah, he did have like a certain look to him. I wouldn't say rat like, but I would say not. He didn't look like the rest of the cast of people. So now this movie, Jeremy. What did you think of this movie by itself? Just by itself.
As a standalone movie, I liked it.
You like this one?
I did. Um, it was. I didn't like all the symbolism, or I mean, foreshadowing that they did.
Yeah, they did.
They did a ton of foreshadowing.
If you've lived I mean this movie it came out in 2003, so uh spoiler alert, there's rats in it, but we've watched the original Willard, so we kind of already knew what happened. So every time, they did some sort of foreshadowing or something, it was obvious. It was like a nail on the head. It was like what did the
I
oh,
won't be taken down by rats.
oh yeah, he the boss was
Yeah.
talking about how he's not going to be taken down by rats. He was actually talking about the people in the office building or wherever they were working, but that's what happens to him at the end of the movie. He gets killed by the rats, and Willard he has Socrates, and he's like, I'm not going to let anything bad happen to you, and he lets something bad happen to him. It's like we know how this plays out. Um, this movie plays out pretty much the same as the original Willard. Um,
I
he
did
gets
like a
his
lot of the newer stuff that they added that you could have at the time.
oh,
Like,
like the picture in the background right there with all the rats just.
yeah. And contrary to what they say, they trained over 500 rats.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they used a lot of life rats. Now this shot here, that we have in the background where the elevator doors opening and the rats are spilling out and he's standing there, I am pretty sure that that's all just CGI. I'm going to go
Yeah.
with that CGI. Now, the thing I did notice about this movie is that um I didn't notice it in the first movie, so if it was there, I completely missed it. But everywhere the rats were, there were rat droppings everywhere
Yes.
in the house, on the countertops. When the rats came out of the elevator, they were down the hallway. Um, I don't know if that's something that they just kept in the movie or if it was something that was purposely done. But as far as I can remember, they didn't do anything like that in the original. So I just thought that was a nice little touch.
Yeah, to
Um,
let you know that they were there.
now comparatively, everything in this movie is pretty much the same rundown. Willard's this weird character. He lives with his mom. We do get to see the mom a bit more in this one. Um, she doesn't die mysteriously or whatever. It's actually the rats that do kill her, I believe. Um,
Mom was just creepy in this one.
yeah, the mom was a little bit, but I think she was suffering from. I think the mom in the other one. I think everything in this movie was amped up to like an 11. So if the mom in the other one had some sort of degenerative disease and was kind of like just going senile or whatever she was doing, it was cranked up to an 11 in this one. She's all old and sickly and pale and just she wanted to call him Clark. She just like randomly was like, I'm a you need Willard's not a strong name. You need a strong name. I'm gonna call you Clark.
Yeah.
And guy's like 30 something years old. You can't just be changing his name out of nowhere, mom, you know? So um with everything that was going on in this movie, um like I said, it all kind of plays out. The girlfriend aspect is very low played. It's like it wasn't even a romance.
No, that was a very low key thing. But what I want to know, which Mr. Martin did you like better?
I hated both. I
Okay.
hated them both.
Okay. Well, which
There's
one?
not one I could like.
Which one?
Um,
Which one did you hate more? Which means they did the better job.
see, that's a difficult thing because there is just stuff that in the new one that you just couldn't get away with. I don't know what year this movie was supposed to take place in. It looks like it could have taken place in like the yeah, I don't know exactly what time period this movie would have been in. It looks like something like Gotham, you know, where Gotham always looked like it was stuck in the 60s or something.
Mm-hmm.
But this, yeah, so there was like things that the Martin in this movie was just like, he was just, I don't think you could do in a workplace. He just come in and be like, have the rats chewed through his tires, which was actually a different edition. Some of
I
the
liked
aspects
that.
changed. Instead of ruining some sort of anniversary party, he sent the rats in to um, chew through the tires of his boss's new car. And you know, he comes in, he's complaining about how his wife was scared and blah blah blah, and then he's like, he asks his secretary, I need a foot rub. I don't think you can do that. Not in the job description. You know, he just seemed like he was kind of a bully to everyone, but he was like locking Willard in the elevator.
It
I
was.
mean, that was entirely uncalled for. Now,
He is a bully, but he was a bully in the original too.
yeah, both of them were built bullies, but it seemed like it seemed like this one was just a louder bully. Like he was gonna bully Willard, and he was gonna bully him in front of everyone. And there was like no punches pulled. I think in the other one, it was, I wouldn't say it was subtle. you can definitely tell he was an antagonist. He was a bully of sorts, but he just didn't seem as loud. And I think that boss was awful. Yes, yes, both bosses were awful. They're hostile work environments. I'm gonna say the boss from probably the first movie
I have to give it to.
because I did like the boss in this one because he was just so over the top, but he was so over the top in the fact that I was just like, okay, I'm kind of done with him now. You can't you can't sit there and lock Willard in like an elevator and then just yell at him.
I
You
think.
know,
I think the actor of choice in the remake or in this one was spot on.
I couldn't get past that hair.
Arlie Ermy is just he's got that rugged uh, bad guy persona, and it's not just this movie; it's every movie he ever does. He has that bad guy persona that he does so well. Um,
If welcome in Raven. If if you missed anything, we're just talking about the bosses at this point. Just talking about which one we quote unquote like the most. Um, so we decided to give that to the original boss, like the one that
you did.
was.
I
Well,
go
I
with the
did.
new
Okay.
one.
Oh, you go with the okay. So, with that being said, which Willard did you like? This one's a tough one.
I don't. I can't decide on which one because the Willard in
Uh,
the Willard in the first one would not have worked in this movie, and the Willard in this movie would not have worked in the original.
that is true because this one is a bit more over the top and kind of more. Um, I'm gonna say this: the original Willard, I liked him better, hands down. Now, that's not to say Crispin Glover did a bad job. I liked him in this movie, but I liked more of the original where it was more of kind of a like he's a victim. Now, in this movie, he is a victim, and they play it out as a victim. But just in certain scenes when he's just at, and it is so quick. Like throughout the original movie, Willard is bullied, he's taunted, he's just, made fun of, and it escalates into the revenge killing at the end of the movie.
This
This
one
one, he get
it didn't there was no build up.
yeah. In this one, it was just like, uh, he gets bullied at work, and then he's sitting there with his rats, and he's like, "Tear him apart, tear him to pieces, tear him apart," and he's just got this frantic thing going on in his head, which could have been the character itself, the character direction they wanted to go with, where he was already kind of maybe this was further on down the line, so you got to skip kind of the build up portion of it. But I do think that the original Willard and just kind of the overall general movie was since we're which one did you like, Jeremy? Which one was your favorite?
I liked them both for their aspects of what they were. I don't think either one was better than the other. The one thing I can say about this one that I truly did not like compared to the original was the way Willard treated Ben.
Exactly. We're gonna jump into that one here in a moment, Jeremy. We're gonna jump into that one
I
here in a
think
moment.
like
That is a whole topic. Actually, me and Raven were actually talking about that earlier.
I
We were just
don't think
talking about.
I think he treated Ben so cruelly for no reason
Okay, so
in the new one.
here's how it goes. Here's kind of the generalized rundown of this movie. In the original, Willard finds Socrates, or he actually finds a bunch of other rats in the other in the first movie. He finds other rats, and um, one of them actually brings Socrates, and he gets attached to Socrates, and then Ben shows up, and those are kind of his two rats. Now, in the original movie, there is some favoritism. Like Socrates is like his rat, while Ben is just the other rat. But he never mistreated Ben. Socrates got to sleep in the bed, but he did get to take Ben to work. Ben and Socrates both went to work. This movie, he hated Ben for some reason. He just hated Ben.
Which
I
it's funny they
don't
said
get.
people have been reports that he wasn't portrayed by an actual rat, but he was actually played by a Gambian pouched rat, a distant relative of the brown rat and the species used in the film. The pouch rats are fairly docile and can grow to a body length of 10 to 17 inches from the head to the base of the tail, with the tail about the same length or longer, and can generally weigh anywhere from 2 to over 6 pounds.
Yeah, Willard or Ben in this movie was a big rat. I think in the other movie he was about the same size as all the other rats. I think
He
the
was a
only thing that
little
was
bit bigger. He
yeah, I
just
think he's
liked
a
to
little
mean mug everybody.
yeah, I think just the way they focused on him, you could definitely tell it was Ben, but if you threw him in a batch of rats, you would probably never know which one was him. This Ben stood out because he was a big rat. Apparently he weighed about the same as like 10 other rats.
Which
Cuz remember that?
they
Because
used
he
to make fun of. All Ben was making fun. He's like, Ben, you won't fit.
yeah, if you go, you're not going to be able to get everyone in there, Ben. And it was just like, and then Ben jumped in there and scared all the other rats out. And Willard apparently did not know the weight balance between two bags, one full of rats and one with a giant fat rat in it. Um, so that was a big thing we were talking about is that I absolutely hated the way Willard treated Ben in this movie.
I did too.
And it just makes the ending even worse for me. I hated the ending of this movie.
Which part of it? Him living or him killing Ben?
Both, like just the ending itself. I hated the ending. It caught me by surprise because I was expecting him to die, but then he killed Ben and was in the but then he was in the institute, the insane asylum, or whatever you want to call it, the hospital, and whatever, the padded room. I absolutely hated this ending. I think the way the first movie was structured, it fit as kind of a tragic movie. Wait, you did PG what? You hated this movie or the ending of the movie, or you hated the way he treated Ben? We'll let her get back to that. So the way the first movie plays out is that um Ben and Socrates are kind of played the same. Socrates is kind of the favorite. Ben is like second favorite. He gets some of the privileges, but not all the privileges. But Willard never mistreats him. And when Socrates gets killed, which is done in the same fashion and it looks almost the same.
Except for that
That
ending where he's like, afraid of a little blood there, tiger?
yeah, I mean even when he was like poking at the rat, I think in the first movie, he was like poking at the rat, and then you'd see a clip of like Socrates running around and he had like red paint on him or something. And it did kind of the same thing. They had like red blood on the rat and it was running around. It didn't quite look real to me, but that's just me. But So Socrates ends up getting killed, and that kind of pushes Willard to his edge, right? The one thing that he truly cared for, the one thing that he loved, that loved him back, was dead. So he goes back and he gets Ben and gathers up the rest of the rats, takes them to the factory or whatever, and exacts revenge on the boss. It played out pretty much the same way in this movie.
I liked the build up in this one though, where he's like in his office and you see him like you see one, and then you see the next one, and you just start seeing him like appear on the couch.
Oh, in this one?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and it didn't look like
Um,
somebody just throwing rats onto somebody.
yeah, I mean, the effects of this one were better. So when you're talking about a swarm of rats, you're actually getting a swarm of rats, not just a couple rats napping on some guy's chest. Um, but I think the way the original movie, what I liked best about the original movie is that Willard had been pushed to a limit, and he made a choice. He is going to exact revenge on his boss, and I'm pretty sure he was thinking to himself that he was going to kill the guy. And then he got in there and was trying to talk to him. He was in control now. The boss was going to sit there and listen, and then the boss attacked him, and then he seeked the rats on him, and the rats attacked him, and the boss jumped out like the window
Yep.
on like whatever story they were on, and he fell to his death. And Willard looks over and he's like, "Oh God, that actually happened. I just killed a guy." And I think at that point he realizes what he did, and he just wants to be rid of everything. He just wants to wash his hands clean. So he's like, "Okay, Ben, you got to go. I'm done. Bye." And he leaves, and he goes back to his place and he drowns the rats. Well, Ben's not happy about that. So he brings another army of rats with him.
Yep.
And then Willard tries to slyly poison Ben.
Which
And
in this one, Ben took it like a champ.
yeah, he
Took a
took it like,
mousetrap to the leg, chewed his freaking paw off.
yeah. And so as Willard's trying to make his escape, Ben sicks the rats on him and they kill Willard. And I think that in of itself is a solid movie. You know, don't backstab your friends, I guess. But in this movie, Willard's just bullying Ben all the time. Like what I maybe Ben creeped him out. Which one are we talking about? Are we talking about the original or this one, the remake?
Probably the
Because
remake.
in this one, Ben really didn't do anything wrong. It was almost like Willard was like reflecting his, like when, I guess in a sense, someone who gets bullied usually turns around and bullies someone else.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that's what was happening in this. He had like Socrates' favorite little white rat, and he was getting bullied along the way. So he was just kind of turning around and bullying Ben. And Socrates ends up getting killed, which is kind of this weird moment because I don't know. Maybe Ben had something to do with it
Nah.
because maybe Ben was jealous. But he so the same thing happens. He gets Ben and the rest of the rats. They go back and they kill the boss. And the boss goes down the elevator because he's got all the rats on him in the elevator. And he goes down, and then Willard leaves.
Which he actually had already planned on leaving Ben there at the place.
Yeah, because he had locked the door and said, "Bye, Ben,"
Yep.
and let the elevator go down. Then he goes back and he gasses all the rats. That's the one thing I did kind of like about this movie because drowning the rats is kind of personal.
Oh, he
I
did a
mean,
lot
gas it.
more than
I mean,
gas him. He torched him.
was it like I thought it was just like a gas.
Then he burns them.
Yeah, I mean he was throwing their dead bodies in the furnace thing, but it wasn't like they were alive. He wasn't down there torching them like a bunch of sanitary workers in a sewer. But yeah, he threw like a little thing down there and gassed them, and you can hear them all like squeaking and whatnot. And he went down there and started shoveling them into a furnace. And then Ben shows up with more rats, and he's kind of come back to take his revenge. And Willard beats him, and I didn't like that. I didn't like that because that's pretty much like Ben being bullied the entire time, and then he ends up losing anyway.
Yeah, because they do the whole bit where he falls down the stair from the stairs after Ben bites him in the face, and
Yeah,
that's when, like you said, I thought the movie was over. I was like, okay, Willard falls, he dies, and then they showed him behind
yeah,
with the shadow of him jumping up and just stabbing what's supposed to be Ben.
yeah. They show like Ben limping in front of the window right there, and he kind of limps in front of the window, and I'm like, oh, there's Ben, and then all of a sudden, Willard jumps back up, and he's got his dad's pocket knife, and he just starts shanking Ben right then. I'm like, wow, are we serious right now? This is how we gonna this movie is.
Then they put him in the mental institution, and he gets another white rat.
Yeah, he ends up with another white rat, and he starts talking about his escape. I don't know. Were there plans for a sequel? Because it sounded like they were setting something up.
I didn't
That's what it
see
just.
anything, but probably at some
But
point.
I am gonna say they used the Ben song in this, and they used it when they killed the cat.
Yeah, he like threw
There's like
that
a
cat in
little
there.
yeah, there's like a comical moment where the cat's trying to get away from the rats, and then it ends up falling into the rats, and they ate it.
Yep.
So, but all the while Ben is playing in the background. The song Ben is playing in the background, which I thought was kind of cute, but I'm like, it just really doesn't fit this moment.
I did like um, that there were more horror elements to this one, and I liked their little training montage that they did.
Yeah, it was just like if you compare this Willard and the Willard from the original, I think the Willard in the original was just training them because he just was doing something. He is training them. This is food. This is not food. This is empty. Do this, do that. This Willard was like training them for murder, like from the get go. He's like, hey, I got rats. What do I do with rats? I'm going to murder someone. I'm going to train them to be murderers. Yeah,
Overall,
yeah, I know.
overall,
Some
what did you
some
think?
movies just have an ending like that and they leave it there without a sequel. Yeah, I mean sometimes they do, but I think most of the time they always they do like that little sequel bait. Ooh, we're gonna get a move. We're gonna get Ben 2 in here or something, and then they realize they don't have the money for it. So
Yeah, or the actors to do it that want to do it, stuff like that.
yeah, well,
I mean, I think Crispin Glover did a good job with it.
like I said, this movie I don't hate this movie. I actually really like this movie. This is like a trilogy of movies that I will sit down and watch.
I'd watch it again. Uh,
The first two are very like of their times. When the first one come out again, it was like 60 is
Hold on, I'll tell you in a
I thought it was like in the uh
Uh,
71.
yep.
Willard came out in
And
71.
Ben came out in
Ben came out
72.
in 72. And they are a product of their times. They're very
Yes, very much so.
like when you watch it, it's the way it's shot, the way it's acted, the music. They say it's a horror movie, but it sounds like Willy Wonka. It's very whimsical sounding. It is one step away from being a Disney movie.
Yep.
And this movie, I do like the fact that they did have a darker tone. They did. I mean, it's still a PG-13 movie, so you ain't gonna get all the nasty bits and stuff like that. But um, it does have a darker, more suspenseful tone to it.
Good thing it didn't get that R rating because could you imagine Mr. Martin if it had the R rating?
Oh yeah, just
There'd be
gnawed a bit.
F bombs
Okay.
everywhere, and
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess so. With
I mean,
yeah,
just think of his
yeah.
other movies that he's done.
Um, yeah. I mean, he was.
He was in the Texas Chainsaw remakes. He was the gunnery sergeant in Full Metal Jacket.
He was in the Frighteners.
Yep.
He literally played the same character from Full Metal Jacket just as a ghost. It was the same guy. Um,
He also played the sergeant, the voice of the sergeant in all the Toy Story movies.
did oh yes he did, didn't he? I forgot about that. So yeah, and I do like the fact that they really toned down the romance in this one. It was nice to see like
I liked her reaction when she found out that he killed Martin. And when he was trying to get out, she just kind of like let him there, left him there.
yeah, she's like, no. See, I do like the romance element from the first movie. It gave like a nice like, not everyone's a terrible person in this universe, you know? And I do like the fact that, and that's what makes it even more tragic is that like once he killed Martin, he was just like, oh God, I don't want to do this no more. And then he actually tries to set his life more in motion. And he tries to invite her over for dinner. And then he notices Ben is back and he's like, oh, okay, you just need to leave.
Yeah.
And he kind of pushes her out. And then he ends up proceeding to be killed at the end of that. This one, you didn't have like any sort of like actual romance, even though she was very kind to him. Like he was the only one. She was the only one who showed up at his mom's memorial or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
And they
it was
all,
just
again, just like in the original, they all wanted him to sell his house.
yeah, it wasn't overplayed in this one though. I think that was kind of the thing in the other movie that I got kind of tired of hearing was that like it almost seemed like the whole town wanted him out of that house for some reason.
Yeah.
His mom's friends is like, oh, the house is too big. You don't need that. You're just one guy. You don't need the house. You got Martin, who I think is trying to buy the house so he can sell the property so they can knock it down and turn it into like an apartment complex or a condominium or something. Um, this one, I think Martin mentioned that he wanted it so he could probably put an apartment on there, but
He didn't say why he wanted it, but he did offer to buy it.
well, I do remember in like one line he did say something about apartments or condominiums. I don't know if he was just making a joke like, "Oh, you could put an apartment complex on that plot of land or something like that." Um, you did have the guy show up, the bank guy or whatever, show up at the memorial and try to get Willard to sell the house or whatever.
Yep.
And he does have like this weird reaction. He just starts yelling. Like Willard's like just yelling. And even the guy's like, okay, whoa, tone it down there, champ. I don't know. It's not like we're just trying to make you homeless or anything, which we are. Sell us the place. And then you see him go outside and he's like shaking hands with Martin or whatever, like they know each other. But that guy never gets brought up in the movie ever again. So do they just know each other? Are they working together? Who knows? It's never explained.
Well, it is. That time.
It's that time again.
It's game time.
Well, while you're getting that set up, Jeremy, I was doing a little bit of looking here.
Okay.
The hold on, what? I forgot what he did. Hold on. He was producer for this movie. James Wong.
Yeah,
He
I know that name.
huh?
I know that
You
name.
know that name? Yeah. Well, I was confusing him with, I think it was James Wan,
That
who is
might
the
be who
guy.
I'm thinking of.
James Wan is the guy who was doing like the Saw movies and stuff.
Yeah.
But hold on here real quick, Jeremy. Check this out. Check this out. You still probably know this guy. He produced this movie, but he directed and wrote the original Final Destination.
Okay.
He directed, wrote, and produced Final Destination 3. Um, he was producer for the 2006 Black Christmas movie. He was director for Dragon Ball Evolution,
Oh, jeez.
but he has made a killing. Let's see here. Wong is best known for co-writing episodes of the Fox science fiction supernatural drama series, The X-Files, with his partner Glenn Morgan. Glenn Morgan's the guy who actually directed this movie.
Yeah.
But notable episodes co-written by Wong was the episode Squeeze.
Okay.
Uh,
I'm trying to remember which one that one is.
I think that's the one with what's his face, the guy Tomb. Yeah, it's Tombs. It was like the
Oh
second
yeah, yeah,
episode with
yeah, yeah,
Tombs in
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Oh no, this was the first one with Tombs.
That creepy guy who goes through all the vents and stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh god. Yeah, I remember him.
He did the episode Ice. This is just stuff he's written. He wrote Ice. I think that was the one that had like the yeah, that was the one where they found that parasite thing in Antarctic.
Yep.
He did Beyond the Sea, EBE, the first episode to introduce the lone gunman. He did Tombs, Little Green Men, Blood. Blood. Was that the one with no, never mind. I was thinking of the vampire one. Three, One Breath. And he did the one he wrote the episode Home. Oh god. The first episode to be preceded by a warning from the network that it was intended for mature audiences only due to its disturbing content. So yeah, so he's very big on the X-Files.
He
Which is
also
probably
did
why
American Horror Story.
yeah, he did some work on that. So he's done stuff that we've enjoyed, and so fun bits. Yay. All right, Jeremy. Now that we get that out of the way, let's crank it in with the IMDb.
Alrighty. So on a scale of 1 to 10, everybody place your bets. This is the Price is Right rules. Don't go over. On a scale of 1 to 10, IMDb has over 200,000 or 20,000 reviews. Let's see who is taking home the trophy. Amber last week took 2 for 3. Or did she get 3 for 3? No, she got 2 for 3.
No, I think she got 2 for 3.
She got 2 for 3.
Is she on? I haven't seen her. I haven't seen if she posted anything or not.
We'll give everyone a couple more minutes.
Dun,
We got
dun,
a 6, a 6.5, and a 5.
Let's see while we're waiting just a little bit longer. Ah, Glenn Morgan. Let's see what he's done.
Oh, the director?
Yeah.
X-Files.
He directed. Oh,
Twilight
DXY.
Zone, Black
Yeah,
Christmas.
he directed Black Christmas.
Yeah, not a
Trick
super
Trick or
whole.
Treat.
Amber gave it a 7.
Oh, okay. Let me switch back to that page since I missed.
All right, so and the verdict is the
Come on,
winner
come on.
of
Let's do this. Let's do this.
IMDb,
Come on.
Ravenfire, with the answer being 6.1 out of 10.
Oh, are you kidding me? Seriously? Seriously? I was over by 0.4?
Raven was under by 0.1.
She just slid through there. Look at her. Just
PJ, you almost had it. You were
almost.
You were second. Well, now we're going into
me and Amber busted.
the land of Rotten Tomatoes. So again, Price is Right rules, 0 to 100 this time. And this is critics of the tomato meter. Tomato meter. All right, Jason has taken the 68%. Giving them critics a little bit of a over that 50% mark.
Yeah, I do think a lot of people like this movie a bit more.
Ravenfire with the 65.
Oh, she's gonna try to cut me off again.
PJ with the 59. I'll give anybody else a couple minutes to throw their answers in. So, do you think critics like this movie better than the original?
I don't even remember what the original was. I think they're gonna like it a little bit more. Maybe.
Amber with the 55.
Oh.
And the answers. PJ, you won. The answer was 64% out of 100. Raven, you missed it by 1. Jason, you missed it by 4.
I'm never gonna get this. I don't think I've ever gotten one.
Player busts. Go PJ. Go PJ.
So we got a 1 and 1.
Yep, we got a 1 and 1. So let's see who's taking the crown this week.
Are we all tied?
Oh,
We
get a three-way tie. So,
okay.
Audience review of
Okay,
Willard.
I'm gonna stick with my guns on this.
So while y'all are doing this, so some of the stuff that some of the critics, the casting of cult actor Crispin Glover as Willard Stiles is by far the best acting choice in a major American film since Spike Jonze and Charlie Kaufman redesigned John Malkovich. Say what?
No, I was just saying. Yeah, I think I heard a lot of people like this one because of Crispin Glover in it.
This
he just
new
plays a really weird character.
Of Willard emphasizes one thing: no matter how bad the original was, it didn't need to be remade.
Yeah. Yeah.
The vengeance-driven plot creeps along at a snail's pace, and all the teeth gnashing and cheek quivering in the world, courtesy of Glover's demented Willard Stiles, cannot save the day.
Oh my God. Is that a picture of him from 2010? Ooh. He is, trying to see. He's done something. Let's see here.
Who? Crispin Glover?
Yeah. Glover has residences in Los Angeles, New York City, and the Czech Republic.
Uh,
His residence, Zemik Konravit, I didn't even know how to pronounce that. 45 minutes east of Prague by train, is a 17th century 20-acre chateau that is recognized as historically significant to the Czech government. The property requires constant upkeep and restoration. According to Glover, the property is a lifetime project that will be in continuous flux and repair for hundreds of years from now, as it has been the hundreds of years before I owned it.
Interesting.
Guy owns a chateau. Oh, yeah, he was also in a lawsuit with Back to the Future.
Why?
In Back to the Future Part 2, Zemeckis reused brief footage of Glover that had been filmed for the first film. Glover was billed as George McFly in footage from Back to the Future in the closing credits. The older footage was combined with new footage of actor Jeffrey Wiseman wearing a false chin, nose, and cheekbones in various whatever.
Oh,
So they made the guy look, and I think it was because Glover wasn't available for, I guess, the second movie. But yeah, they just kind of dressed the guy up to look like him.
hmm.
Let's see, did he win the case? He tried to sue them. Oh, he successfully sued the producers on the grounds that they had used his likeness without permission, as well as not having paid him for the reuse of the footage from the original film.
Makes sense.
And it was settled out of court, and Glover was awarded a reported $760,000. Yes, he bought that chateau with that.
Probably.
So, yeah, that's okay. Well,
Well,
now that we know that, wait,
we are going to
wait,
have a
wait,
two-way tie, Jason.
what? Amber never even vote. Did Amber didn't vote?
Well, no, she didn't.
She didn't vote. Amber, what happened? You're gonna lose your chance to win or tie, I guess. All right, Jeremy, go ahead. What do we got?
It is a two-way tie.
Oh, she got 65 in there. She threw 65 in there.
It
Did
is
you
a
slide it?
two-way tie between Ravenfire and PJ because all of y'all busted. Audience
Wow, we
score
all-
was a 51%.
Wow. Audience was a 51. What was the critic one?
64?
So what? It got a splat
No,
by like.
it's good. Remember, it's gotta be
Oh,
above a 50.
I thought it had to be like a 65.
No, it had to be above a 60. I mean,
No, it has to be.
and the audience score is spilt popcorn.
Built popcorn.
Yeah, that's what the little icon is. It's like a bucket of popcorn that's spilt over.
Uh,
So,
wow.
so we had a two-way tie this time around. Interesting.
Yeah. Do you agree with those scores, Jeremy?
I agree with the critic score. I think the audience score is a little low, but with this ending, I think it wouldn't be much higher, to be honest.
I think maybe if they changed the ending, had it more towards the original, um, then I think it would have probably maybe have done better. Because I mean, come on, Willard in this was in of himself a bully. So you have a bully, which is the boss, bullying a guy, and then you have that guy who is now taking that pent up rage and he's bullying the rat. And who gets to walk away from this? The middleman. The middleman.
Well, that's all the time we have for tonight. But before we get off, we do have a announcement.
Special announcement. Oh, next week.
Yes, it's
I
part of
don't
the
know.
announcement.
Oh, this is. Oh, then
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, you're good,
Go
Jason.
ahead. Oh, okay.
Take it.
Next week, me and Jeremy are going on vacation. Whoop whoop. Vacation. So we are not doing a movie on Monday, and we are not doing an episode. So any of you guys listening out there, you're gonna end up not getting an episode for a week. So next week we are off the books. But that does kind of roll into what Jeremy, I know what Jeremy was talking about. So go ahead with it, Jeremy. Give him the
So,
news.
in 2 weeks, uh, we will be having our first special guest on the podcast. His name is Rick Hines. He is a author that I met while at Pensacon this past year, and he was actually on the panel for horror authors along with three other people, one of which who was the editor for Weird Tales magazines, and another one who helped write some of the Alien tabletop RPG games.
Which I actually just saw when I was over at Level Up Gaming
So
this weekend.
I reached out to him, and he's gonna talk with us about the movie for next Wednesday. It was his choice um, on what movie we did, and we are super excited. He's a really cool guy. He had a couple of great stories that we heard on the panel, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, Jeremy actually got to meet him at Pensacon. I didn't get a chance to, but I did want to hop down there and uh, get like one of his signed books, but I can always do that at another time. I know he sells them on his website, I believe. Jeremy, where'd you run off to? Get back here, bro. Podcast isn't over. You don't just get to roll off. What you got there, Jeremy?
I was gonna say, so for anybody out there um, who likes to read, this is his book called The Seventh Age, Part One. So it's his story, and I've read part of it so far, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it.
Is it horror related, or is it more of just like a futuristic dystopia?
It's got horror elements in it. There's a lot of horror elements in it, and like I said, it's a good read so far.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can get all that information from him when he's on here, and you can go to his website. I think he's got a website. You could buy the books and other stuff. I know he just did a tabletop game,
Yeah, so
or
he just helped write a tabletop D&D about what happens to your character when they die.
yeah, it's a whole campaign about dead characters.
So you pull out all your old dead characters and you can play this campaign with your dead people.
Very, very interesting.
But like I said, we're super excited for it. He'll be our first one, and we do have some more in the works. But without further ado, we will see y'all in 2 weeks. Not next
2
week,
weeks.
but 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And let's see what movie Mr. Hines has decided to talk about. Y'all stay safe. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Later, y'all.
Somewhere between science and superstition, there is another world. The world of darkness. Nobody expected it.
All right, let's see what
Nobody believed it. And nothing could stop it.
There are no experts. You probably know as much about possession as most priests. Look, your daughter Doesn't say she's a demon. She says she's the devil himself.
I'm telling you that that thing upstairs isn't my daughter. Now, I want you to tell me that you know for a fact that there's nothing wrong with my daughter except in her mind. You tell me you know for a fact that an exorcism wouldn't do any good. You tell me that!
The one hope. The only hope. The Exorcist.